All right, my name is Anthony. This is my wife Jessica, and probably wondering why Adam and Tara Carr reached out to try to help us. And this is the backstory on what happened to us and our issue. So we bought a home, and it was totally affordable. We had it, it's still affordable, but I have two jobs. I work in law enforcement, and I also am a National Guardsman, so the weekend warrior thing.
Prior active duty.
Prior active duty. I served in the Army 3 years, and then got out at National Guard, so I can keep the commissary benefits and stuff like that. So while I was working my law enforcement job, I did my 30 days of I did 30 days of military leave a year for my law enforcement job. So at the end of the fiscal year, we got activated to go fight a natural disaster. And when I got pulled away, I had to take leave without pay for my law enforcement job, causing me to only take military pay. I usually don't get paid military pay because I get disability from the VA, but this was a special circumstance in that I was going to get paid because we were activated. Now, once I got there, I did 2 weeks of training, got ready to go, had all my gear laid out, ready to go, and the day before we were supposed to deploy, I get called into the Command Sergeant Major's office and saying that I'm not able to go because since I had a back surgery in my active duty days, they didn't want to take, California did not want to take the liability of me getting hurt again, even though I was fully combat deployable. When I brought up that argument, I was like, hey, I am combat deployable, so why can't I go to this? California just said, no, we're not going to take the chance of you getting hurt. So they sent me home packing, and I lost out on thousands of dollars. This is the same time that when I came home, my wife was going through a lot of health issues. She had to go to the GI doctor, she had to go to a heart doctor, and she was also struggling with almost debilitating anxiety. And I struggled.
I had medical issues with my heart and my thyroid and my intestines prior to my anxiety flare-up. So I just want to get that cleared, that during the times of the fires, that's when my anxiety started to flare up really bad, and I started to get extremely debilitated from it. I do battle with moderate to severe generalized diagnosed anxiety, and I have my good times where you won't know, and then sometimes it just hits, and this time it was probably one of the worst times it's ever had been, on top of everything else.
So with me getting paid so little from the National Guard and coming home, and at that time I was the sole breadwinner. I had the two incomes from my law enforcement job and the National Guard and the VA, and I was a sole breadwinner, and I couldn't ask the wife to go to work because she wasn't in the right state to go to work at that time. Currently she works for Beachbody, and she's doing amazing. She's helped me lose weight, she's helped others meet their goals, and she has a heart of passion to do this job. She loves it. She absolutely loves it. And
it was a way for me to work from home. And our 5-year-old daughter is still taken care of. He works 12.5-hour shifts through law enforcement, and if you don't know, their schedules are crazy. The times are always changing, so that with the guard and school full-time, we don't have any help with our child, which is fine. She's our child, but we don't have anyone that can help watch her or things like that, and we don't qualify for any help or anything like that. So he makes, we made sure before we bought this house, we talked with our lender and everybody, that he made on his own enough money from his law enforcement job and his disability that he gets every month from the VA, that he made enough money regardless if I work or not, to cover our bills, our mortgage, and everything, and he does. So me working is just added security, I guess you would say.
During that time, though, that we I didn't get paid as much. Everything snowballed. So my wife's medical bills piled up. My daughter's medical bills piled up.
She has asthma.
She had bad asthma, and
Severe
it was
asthma.
to the point where we had to use a nebulizer 3 times a day to deliver her medicine because she's too young for an inhaler. So when we had to do that, we didn't. This is our first home we bought. We never realized how our gas and electric bill, was averaging easily, $150 to $200 a month, which is affordable. But once we started utilizing that nebulizer, our bill shot up, and then it's hot where we live at, so we had to run the AC at times for our child. Otherwise, it'd be 100 degrees inside the house. And with the nebulizer as well, the summer premium they charge for utilizing your AC, our bill shot up to like $500, for like 3 months. So
and we had no choice but to give our daughter that medicine. If she got a common cold, which she did during that time as well, her asthma would get worse. So instead of her routine 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and night with the nebulizer, with 2 different steroids that we have to give to her to maintain it, if she gets a common cold, we have to up it 5 to 7 times for 14 days and then wean her back down. This way we can catch it, and sometimes we don't catch it quick enough and she'll end up in the ER, which she has a couple of times, and had to get shots of prednisone, which is really strong, and she just turned 5, so just a lot.
So all that loss of income and the medical bills piling up just snowballed, and I kept, I'm going to work extra overtime, and I kept going in for more shifts and more shifts, to the point where I was never home, and then the times that I was home, I was taking care of my wife, trying to get to the grocery store to buy fresh, groceries for the month, and take my daughter to her appointments. During that time, my wife struggled with that anxiety. She was not able to drive. Legally she was, but it was too much, and we found out through therapy that was one of her triggers. So I would come home and drive.
When my anxiety starts to spiral down, one of the things that happens to me is my driving gets affected, panic attacks, things like that. So that is something that I've been working on through weekly therapy, and I am driving now. But a year ago, last summer, I couldn't drive for 4 months, 5 months, so he had to do everything, and I went from doing everything to not being able to do anything. So
with those unfortunate events that happened, life happened, and I had to either pay the medical bills so we can keep going to medical, and keep paying the electric bills so we can have lights on, keep having the water on, keep having the our phones on, so she had to reach me. Everything piled up, and I got underwater. I couldn't afford the mortgage payment. I didn't want to tell the wife because I was trying to protect her. I didn't want her to spiral down more at that time when she already was. So I struggled, and I couldn't do it. I got really behind. So that's why we're in a mess now, where we're so close to our foreclosure date, where they're going to auction off our home. I've been working with the mortgage company, telling them, I'm going to, let's figure out a loss mitigation. I just submitted one, but it's time sensitive. And the only way for sure to save this home for my wife and my kid is that
try to be that protector, to keep that away from me, try to catch up and take care of it on his own, and deal with his depression, PTSD that's going on, and thinking he can do it, but he couldn't. It kept snowballing and snowballing, fees kept racking up, and from what the lender's now telling me, and and he couldn't catch up. And so the mortgage company said, yeah, pretty much if you don't pay $19,000 is what got racked up in fees, and then the missed payment, and I don't even know the total breakdown of exactly that. We're gonna go to an appointment on Wednesday, and so I can see everything, this and that and what we can do. And I just know that they're saying if you don't pay $19,000, that your house is not your house and you might as well pack up. And my daughter starts kindergarten on the 22nd. My house is supposed to be auctioned off on the 17th. I'm scared. I felt betrayed, embarrassed, just horrible. I felt horrible. I felt numb. When I got a hold of him, I'm, telling him, I know, I found out your secret. Why did you keep this from me? I could have worked harder at my job, and done more hours. And had I known we had this issue with our finances months ago, I wouldn't have thrown my daughter a birthday party. I wouldn't have taken her school shopping. I wouldn't have even taken her to $5 Tuesday movies that her and I like to go to. I wouldn't have done any of that because my child loves this home, and this home is not perfect. This home is a fixer, but this home is ours. This home, we worked so hard for this house for our daughter. She plays outside with her chickens, with her dogs, with her cats. This is her home, and I am so scared that on the 17th that I have to tell her it's not our home and we have nowhere to go because we lose everything. We don't have anybody to help us. We don't come from wealthy families. The people that would love to help us can't. I'm angry. I'm scared. I'm embarrassed. But I will always support him. I know he's going through a hard time. And I know he'll get better. And I know this is a lesson for us to communicate. This is a lesson for him that
I can reach out. I can't do it by myself. And I can't hold it in. I can't do that. And when I reached out to Adam, he's like, we're so tired of all this machoism, like, oh, I can handle it myself, or, because of our professions that we can handle it all. I can't. I cannot do it. I know what I did was wrong. I know that, I should have asked for help and I should have reached out to people, but I'm so fixed on, I have to fix this. That's our mentality as men, is, we must fix it. We have to fix it by ourselves. We have to fix everything. And this time I can't. I couldn't. I still can't, and I just wish it wouldn't have happened, but it did. And we have a plan. We have a plan to go, and for me to seek counseling, for me to seek to the State of Warrior course, the therapy,
to get your mind right, to get better.
Yes, to get a lot better. And then, from this day forward,
marriage counseling.
Told my wife, I said, since she's doing a little better, I asked her if she can take the finances, and she's gonna take it, all of it. So every paycheck that I make is gonna go straight to her account, and she'll be in charge.
He has enough going on right now.
I can't do it. I can't prioritize.
And I'm able to take over, even though I do work from home. My daughter's gonna start school. But I can't. We're a team, and he's down, and I need to step up, and I will take over the finances, and I will make sure everything's paid. I stay to our budget, and everything, and we make enough money to cover our bills. We make enough money to pay our mortgage. We make enough money. It's just, from my understanding, that when the wildfires happened and he didn't get paid, and then he didn't get paid from his job because he had to take leave without pay, that he couldn't catch up, and it snowballed and snowballed, and the medical bills racked up and things like that. And that's life, and that's a lesson. But we could have probably had it under control had he told me. And this is just very unfortunate. But just finding out a couple days ago myself, and on the 17th, our daughter's house is going to be auctioned off. I can work without sleep, and that still won't do anything right now. And we have a plan. I'm going to take over the finances, make sure everything's done, paid for. This never happens again. Marriage counseling, therapy for him, going to Save the Warriors, intensive therapy. I'm gonna work more hours just so we have that cushion, so we don't ever have to be put in this position again. I just can't, we just can't lose this house. I can't tell my daughter. Can't.
I know what we're asking is a lot. I know that, like I said, this is my fault. I mean, I chose my jobs. I chose, to hide it, to try to fix it by myself, and I failed. I failed myself. I failed my wife. I failed my daughter, and I failed this house. But if you guys do find in your heart to help us out in this unfortunate situation, God bless you. May God always bless you. And what Adam and me talked about, and growing and reaching out, it's not a sign of weakness. He made me realize that. He saved my life. It's not a sign of weakness to say that you're broken and that you need help and that you need to reach out more. It was getting to that point where I was holding everything in to where I would have become a statistic, and no one would have known why until after I was gone. And the only way for sure to save this home for my wife and my kid is that I'd have to do a reinstatement, which is upwards of $19,000 that we got behind. I understand that this is my fault. I chose not to tell the wife because I was worried for her, and not just her, it was me. I was struggling with my own stuff as well. I was dealing with the law enforcement side, dealing with the guard, all the pressures of making sure all my Joes are taken care of in the guard, and then coming home and trying to be a father, trying to be a husband, and just trying to detach from both my jobs. And it caused me to go into a state where I just built walls. I'd come home and my daughter would talk to me, and I just would I wouldn't be there. I wouldn't be living in the moment. I'd be okay.
We're not sure yet, because he does have a therapy appointment coming up, but from the sound of it and what they think just over the phone that has been going on, that he hid from me and everybody for several months, and I just found out a couple weeks ago, is he's also dealing with either some type of depression or PTSD, and that is something that he hid from everybody. And I just found out a couple weeks ago, so knowing what that feels like, to not be okay and to not being able to shake it off, No matter how hard you try, it's very hard. I've been trying to support him any way I can. Still not knowing the financial part of everything. I thought everything was taken care of, everything was fine. And because that's what he was telling me, and I believed him because he's my husband. But I just thought, you know, he's having a hard time, he's dealing with some type of depression or PTSD, let's get him in some intensive therapy. So he has therapy appointments scheduled that I scheduled for him. Adam Carr was nice enough to refer Anthony to Save a Warrior's 5-day intensive therapy that I hope he can go next month to get right, because on top of the financial burden that he was carrying and hiding, and the stressors of just his job and the guard and trying to balance those, finishing school, because he's going to have his bachelor's, and just finishing that out the next couple months, and then our daughter, you know, being sick off and on. I had been going through medical issues for a couple months prior, before even moving into our home, and then when the wildfires came and, you know, everything like that, that's when my anxiety started surfacing again. So I didn't know, I had no idea any of the financial burden was going on at all. And the only way that I found out was this last Friday. I was getting a lot of text messages and phone calls that, is everything okay? What's going on? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, Anthony's in the field. He got pulled, you know, from the guard. He's in the field. And I was like, he's in the field, but we're fine. Mariah and I are fine. Everything's good. And everyone's like, are you sure? Are you sure? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And a couple people said, well, I think I saw your home in the paper. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, I think I saw your home in the paper. It's foreclosure. It's supposed to be, it says it's going to be auctioned off this month on the 17th in a couple days. And I'm just like, I know there was that mishap where he paid the mortgage late because he got pulled from the wildfires and ended up, you know, taking a loss of pay from law enforcement, going, you know, thinking he's going to get paid through the guard, and they ended up sending him home because of his back. And so he didn't get paid, and, you know, things like that. So I said, but we caught up. I don't understand. I know that in March we started receiving foreclosure notices in our mailbox, and I brought them to his attention, and he said, don't worry about it. It's just from that one time that we missed. We caught up. Don't worry about it. They're probably still just sending it. It's, you know, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You know, and I was like, are you sure? Are you positive? Because I'm scared. Like, what's going on? Like, I'm freaking out, and I'm trying to deal with anxiety and get better. And this, you know, finding that in the mailbox, I was upset. I was like, can I trust you? Can I trust your word? And he just assured me over and over and over again that, yes, everything's fine. We caught up. Don't worry about it. You know, and he was lying. He was lying to me, and I didn't know. And so I believed him, and I was throwing those notices away, saying, you know, Anthony's saying everything's fine. Anthony's saying everything's fine. So I tried to call him over and over and over again when he was in the field on Saturday, And I was, you need to call me ASAP. I don't know what's going on. I'm starting to freak out now. I'm getting anxious now, and this scares me because I have worked so hard to get better, and I am starting to freak out. I started crying. I was like, what is going on? Like like my head felt like it was spinning, and he wasn't answering, so I called our lender. I was trying to call anybody I could, saying, can you help me? Like, I don't know what's going on. Maybe you can answer some questions. And, my lender, who is a vet herself, she said, she went on her day off because I was so frantic, and she's just so sweet. And she went on her day off, and she looked at everything. She said, from what I can see, your house is not going to be your house anymore on the 17th. You're in the final stages of foreclosure. This means that something were to happen, that you're more than 90 days late on something, or payments weren't being made for more than 90 days or something. And I was just like, I know there was that one time, but he said he made a double payment the following month, and I don't know what's going on. I just asked him if he paid our mortgage, and he just said yes. He just told me yes. He told me everything's fine. And so she said that, well, this tells me otherwise. And she, called the mortgage company and talked to them about it, what's going on. Because here I'm telling her something different, because my husband tried to be that protector to keep that away from me, try to catch up and take care of it on his own and deal with his depression, PTSD that's going on, and thinking he can do it, but he couldn't. It kept snowballing and snowballing. Fees kept racking up, and from what the lender's now telling me, and and he couldn't catch up. And so the mortgage company said, yeah, pretty much if you don't pay $19,000 is what.
My wife, I failed my daughter, and I failed this house. But if you guys do find in your heart to help us out in this unfortunate situation, God bless you. May God always bless you. And what Adam and me talked about, and growing and reaching out, it's not a sign of weakness. And he made me realize that. He saved my life. It's not a sign of weakness to say that you're broken and that you need help and that you need to reach out more. It was getting to that point where I was holding everything in, to where I would have become a statistic, and no one would have known why until after I was gone. And Adam really helped out. It's not a sign of weakness. I know I have a problem. I know I need help. And if you're watching this and you're feeling the same way, please reach out. Regardless of my situation, contact me. I will help you. I'll talk to you. I'll listen. And through this channel, we'll try to get through it together.
And I just want to thank Adam and Tara from the bottom of my heart for when I reached out and said, I don't know what to do, Tara, and I know you have a family, and I know you have a million things to do, and I what do I do? And I reached out to her, and I poured my heart out, and she's like, give it to me straight, and so I did. And I was crying and crying and crying and crying, and Adam's reaching out to Anthony, talking to him, because Anthony was still in the field. And I'm talking to Tara, and Tara's like, it's going to be okay, Jessica, it's going to be okay. I have a plan. Let me try to help you, and they set up this GoFundMe for us, and this is killing me. This is embarrassing to me. But she knows. She knows that we're not bad people, and that I will fight until this house is taken away from my daughter, from us. And I will do anything. And so she said, let us help. So we're thankful for that. And can keep us in your prayers. We'd be forever thankful. If you make a donation to help us save our home before we lose it on the 17th, we'd be forever thankful.
Thank you for watching this.